What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Welcome to Saturday, the big day. This is the day we're giving away those antennas that you guys have been entering the contest giveaway for. Link was in the description, but don't go to that anymore because we already took the collection of people we'll be pulling from. So thanks for joining us. You don't have to be here to win, but we appreciate you hanging out. Thanks so much. Enjoy the memes, and we'll get started soon.
That was me.
Bong.
You can see it.
All right. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for clicking on the Ham Radio Crash Course. So it's been a month in waiting, but it's time to give away some antennas. I like to do antenna giveaways as we start to roll into winter. For some of you, it's already very much winter, and it gives you something to work on while you're
Still
thinking of warmer times in the future. So you get a little bit of, a little kit to work on and enjoy getting started, getting into the cold. And then you thaw out and you can go play with your radios. So real quick, obviously we are going to be giving away the antennas here today. We've got six times we're going to be drawing multiple winners, though, for 13 different antennas. And we've got the Coffee and Ham Radio crew. They're on the show here today. The link is in the description for everybody. I want to make a point here right up front is that Coffee and Ham Radio is an ensemble cast of characters, and every one of their channels is linked on their page, so make sure you go to that as well. Sub to them. K6ARK as well, he's going to be joining us. And I've pinned a link to the Coffee and Ham Radio website if you would like to just straight up just purchase one of their antennas. They actually have a couple of them. We're only giving away one type, and you maybe want the other type as well. And they have stock on hand, folks, on hand. All right, let's say hi to the crew here. Hey, there's Steve.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
How's it going? So on the top there, we'll go from left to right there. Steve, how you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. We were on Jason's stream last night and got me over 10,000 subscribers, so that was fantastic.
Crazy. That was awesome. Yeah. Well,
it's a warm weather.
You'll take more. So
I will.
If anybody wants to go sub to Steve, go
temporarily offline ham radio.
Yeah, and if you're interested in vintage PCs as well, we've had Steve on before, and he's a really good resource for that as well. So make sure to check him out there. Next to Steve is Adam K6ARK. How you doing, Adam?
I am doing well. Steve, congrats on 10K. That's awesome. That's a sweet milestone to hit. So nice work on that.
It is indeed.
Yeah, all good here.
Yeah, and Adam, you got your 3D printer layout set up right there, showing off a little bit of what you're doing. Now, I was hoping that the batch of 100-watt antennas that you had shipped to Amazon would have made it to the live stream today, but they did not. They sold out really fast. So you're probably
like
gonna.
hotcakes.
They did, yeah. So when will you have more online there?
I'm gonna send another batch in on Monday, so I would expect them to show up on Amazon probably either this week sometime. The last batch only took like 2 days, day and a half, 2 days from when I shipped it for them to go live on the site. So it could be Tuesday, Wednesday, this coming week.
Now you still do have the other antennas up, but if you specifically want the 100-watt, you have to wait for the update in supply, right?
That's right. Yeah, some of them, I think some of the female kits are sold out. I had a few left of the male kits, and I am sending some more in this week as well as some of the SMA kits specifically for the True SDX. And I'm getting some more winders and my mini microphone kits out to Amazon as well. So there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff showing up there this week. And the best way to know when they go live is to probably follow me on Twitter. What the heck is my handle on Twitter? I'll find that and post it in the chat.
There you go. And I'm dropping a link to Amazon as well for all your antennas that you have there. So you've got the QRP and the 20 watts. The barbecue is not made by Adam, but I wouldn't put it past him to build a barbecue and ship it there that you see. But hey, the Smoking Ape's in the chat, everybody. Appreciate Smoking Ape being here, at least in chat form. So we appreciate that. Appreciate you there, Ape. All right, and there's Chuck. Well, we'll go Jim first, and then we'll go to Chuck. How's it going, Jim?
Hey, fine. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good, very good.
Glad to be here.
You're in the basement. Your set looks very nice behind you.
Right. The cave, the man cave. That's it.
So what's going on with you?
Restocking the website today. Got that finished. Our Amazon guy, also known as Chuck, has been busy restocking the warehouse at Chuck's spare room. So
Is that the Yurt Factory?
Yeah, it's also the Yurt Factory. That's correct. That's right.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining us out here. Appreciate you. And Chuck, how's it going, man?
Chuck, you're muted.
Yeah, I think you're muted. Yeah.
We like him that way.
Hey, Josh, everybody. Great to be here. I'm glad you have us on here. And yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks ever since we talked to you. Maybe before you guys went to Thomas Mountain.
Yeah.
And for change, I actually had time to get stuff ready to go. The last time we did one of these things, I'm like, we're selling antennas tonight.
Yeah, you boy, when you came out to Pacifico, you also had a cold. You weren't feeling well at all, and this time just didn't work out from schedule. So just wait, everybody. We're going to have another one. It's a bit more comfortable, no hiking, and that's going to be in April 28th through the 30th next year. So we'll post information on that. But what have you been up to other than that? Any ham radio fun?
Well, I really have been building yurts. That's not just a joke, but
I thought that was the running joke. You're literally building yurts. Wow, fantastic.
The weekend you guys had that was the weekend we had to pour cement because one of the other guys does tree lot stuff and he's done for a while. So we wanted to get the cement poured before if we actually ever got some rain, So,
oh yeah, get that out of the way. Oh, very good.
And we had everybody together, so that was cool.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining us. So basically, for everybody that's watching in the chat, you're like, man, we got 13 things to give away. So we're going to do this in 3 drawing orders. The first set is going to be 5 of, there you go. Thank you very much. That helps. 5 of the K6 ARK 20 watt antenna kits. And you can see the whole lot of stuff right here. The chat's catching up, it looks like, on the left side. Most of the stuff is all on the table. We've got a couple of items that are just too big to fit on here at this time. But yeah, we're gonna kind of walk through all this stuff and pick some winners. So appreciate everybody in the chat watching. Make sure to avail yourselves of the links that we have in the description. And obviously, we only have 3 of the Coffee and Ham Radio antennas. I actually gave one away. I think Kevin got it when we went to Mount Thomas. He was in need of an HF antenna, so boom, we gave that. That was a direct giveaway. And so we're going to have 3 other ones to give away. So if you're interested in a Coffee and Ham Radio antenna, let's go ahead and mention where to go for that. I already dropped the link, but here is the website. And there's 2 antennas up right now, right? Is that right?
Right, there are 2 antennas, yeah. The link dipole, which is the Mercury, and then the end-fed, which is the Apollo.
There you go. And those are available now, stock in hand, ready to go, right?
Sir.
Yes.
Ready to go.
Good. Very good. Well, let's draw our first one. So how we're going to do this, I've got a list of all the people who entered. And we went from, let's start with the first numbers. We went from 2,754 people signed up, and I think it dropped down after the bot did its work, dropped down to about 2,300 or so entries. So all of you who tried to, I'm assuming you didn't want to duplicate your entry, but the bots took care of that. So don't worry, your first one's in there at least. So we're going to pick 5 of these. These are the K6 ARK 20 watt antenna. So let's go ahead and run our first number, 490. 490. All right. Let's make them closer together. There we go. 490. Oop. I remember there was probably a faster way to search for number, but I think it's a go-to command. I forgot. Anyway, 490 is Marvin N9RDX. You got the K6 ARK 20 watt. So thank you very much.
Well, congrats, Marvin. Very nice.
Yeah, we're going to try and go through these quick because there's a lot to give away. Next one, 1750.
What are you on Windows? Isn't it like Control G or something?
This is Google.
Oh, okay.
Control F should find. I don't know what Control.
He's looking for the
You're trying to jump
number.
to the the row
it's
number.
a go-to command. I forget what it is.
I think it is G.
Find in sheet.
Nope.
What was? No. That is 1750. Let's see. I forgot what it was. Somebody will figure it out in the comments.
If only some of us had IT background.
Oh, I think a lot of us have it here. I just we don't.
That was the joke, buddy.
Yeah.
That was the joke.
Philip, KE8KCY. You got the second 20-watt antenna, so congratulations.
Way to go, Philip.
Let's do the next one. And just a reminder, everybody, if you want to join us after, the after chat will still be going on the Ham Radio Crash Course Discord. Link is in the description. 11:59. 11:59. There's probably a go-to. I'm going to look this up after we get through these first 5. 11:59. Eric Cox. No call sign yet. That's okay. Was that right? Let me make sure I didn't screw that one up.
You're saying that the scrolling builds suspense, and they want you to keep scrolling.
Okay. The scrolling
wants it to be over too fast.
That's true, right? Because this random number generator is pretty fast. So 1290 is the next one. 1290. All right. Building the suspense here for everybody.
Yeah. Sam's asking Jim if he actually has an IT background. No, he does not.
Cyrus.
I don't know if Sam is being a smart aleck or not. He may be sassing.
K7CJF, you have won the 4th, I believe. Are we on 4th? How many of these do we have now? Let's see.
I think that's 4.
4 so far. See, that's what we can. This so I don't get myself in trouble later. I use these forms for that. 369.
No, I gotta sell a couple of them.
They're saying hit F5 to go straight to a specific row.
I'm pretty sure that will kill the page, won't it?
Refresh, yeah.
And that's Christopher WRQY383. I don't know if that's you know what, Christopher? It's okay. You don't need to have a call sign. But what's it say? Working on ham.
That's a GMRS call sign.
That's a GMRS call sign. That's it. So there you go.
GMRS radios need antennas.
Oh, row equals cell number? No, I think that's a button you'd have to make. Hey, thank you, Jason Jenkins, for subscribing as a member. Appreciate it. Alt F4. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're good for a couple more minutes. So we got our first set of antennas given away there. That was Adam's 20-watt units, which those are perfect for your shagoos, if you will. That's kind of what it was designed for, right, Adam?
It is indeed, yeah. So I started with the QRP version, which is this little guy. Let's get the focus. Focus. There it is. So that's the QRP version, which is just basically an FT50 size toroid. And, you know, I wanted to run a little more power through it sometimes, and the G90 became really popular. So I came up with this guy, which this one actually doesn't have the FT50 nested inside, but it's the FT82-43 toroid, and the kits include another toroid that you nest inside of this and treat them as a single one. And that'll handle easily 20 watts. I've even pushed up to about 30 watts through running FT8, and it got a little warm, but not bad. So yeah, you can push those pretty good.
And I imagine if you're just running, it's not much bigger for the transformer. So running it on QRP just means that it's going to be able to run longer without getting warm, pretty much, right?
That's right. Yeah. It'll do fine. You know, if you're out in hotter temperatures or something, if it's 100 degrees out and you're still operating, the larger toroid will have a little more mass to soak up that heat.
There's a question in the chat from Modders. I didn't enter. Did I win? Unfortunately, no. But for everybody who did enter, I will contact you if you won. That's the reason why I asked you for your email when you entered. So it's a lot easier for me to just contact you, make sure I've got the right email address, and go about it that way. So, yeah, very good. All right.
You're here, man. You're winning already.
That's a good attitude, Jim. I like that. That's positive.
So we keep him around.
I thought it was for my rugged good looks.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that.
And acerbic wit.
Did you say caustic wit?
I said acerbic, but that's pretty close.
Yeah. It definitely creates a reaction. Like caustic. Okay, that one didn't work. Sorry. But chemistry jokes don't land, I guess.
That's the worst part about
I got that.
cerebral humor.
Now,
Especially in a group of hams, they just argue with you.
Right.
Your antenna's too long. No, it's not. It's actually within 1.5% of spec. No,
what was the joke from last night that hung on the air for a while and everybody got? I can't remember. It was kind of funny.
Oh Lord, which one?
It was the nerdy one. Oh well. Much like
somebody
jokes.
dropped a dad joke. I don't remember which.
Yeah,
one
it was definitely dadish joke for sure. All right. Yeah, so Spencer just joined us on the Discord. Oop, there we go. This chat's going too fast. Yeah, so when you join us on the Discord, if you're going to join us for the after chat, you scroll down and there's going to be a hashtag live-stream. That's where the text chat is. But just above that is a voice chat, and that's where we will do live discussion on Ham Radio after this stream, which is going to be about 45 minutes or so. We'll wrap things up after we give away all the goodies. But you're welcome to join us over there. Any Ham Radio questions, anything related to Ham Radio you want to help in getting started out, we're there for that. So appreciate you joining. Somebody has an idea. Top of the Google Sheet, above the cells on the left hand, on the left of FX, type a column number, and it will take you to the cell. Ooh, on the left of FX. Let me see that again.
Yeah.
Top of the Google Sheet, above the cells on the left hand of FX.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Okay,
see it.
one.
Of course. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So yeah,
They're staring at you the whole dang time.
yeah, right there. You can just type in. You can just type in what you want. So can we do 1500? Oop, that's too much. Here we go.
Do like a 1500 or something. You could row and column like chess, man.
Yep.
Ta-da.
Hit.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah, you sunk my battleship. All right, very good. Well, thanks for that. Appreciate it. A couple super chats, or Nick sent a super chat. I told a chemistry joke once, but there was no reaction. Yeah, that's how I felt. All right, what do we got? Almost time for the coffee and ham radio antennas. Speaking of coffee and ham radio antennas, you got what'd you say? You had a stock of both on hand? So you're good for both antennas. We don't know how many. It's a magical number. We're not sure exactly what the elves have come up with this year for the holiday season. But if anyone watching is interested in them, the odds are good you're not going to win one of these. I only have 3. So if you're interested in getting one, you probably should just take that link and go check them out. What are you going to say, Jim?
That was it. We've got both in stock, the NFED and the Link Dipole.
Very good.
And we also dropped some new merch today. We created Coffee and Ham Radio stainless steel tumblers. So these are now on the website for sale. Laser etched with freaking lasers, man.
It's so shiny you can't see it.
Yeah, my lights are not behind the monitor;
Right.
they're parallel, so it kind of
Did you guys
makes me
notice
look good.
that Mike stepped it up with lights? So I had to step it up tonight with some light. Oh, and that says your name on it if you want to. If you can read that, I don't know.
Yes.
That is actual antennas in boxes ready to go.
Oh, right. Very good.
Not faking it, Chuck?
Huh?
You're
No,
not faking it?
those are real.
They're real boxes.
Yes, real boxes and real antennas. Only one antenna.
Oh my goodness!
Only the
that's
Apollo.
actually. Let's give Chuck the full thing. Your name. So all those boxes there are ready to roll. Wow!
And they're too deep.
Wow! Very good.
One of the rows is.
Chuck, I was giving you credit. Come on, man.
They're 3 deep
the win.
on that row. The rest of them.
Take the bow, buddy.
I thought they were like double deep.
Well, I know Adam knows how it is to put kits together because he puts kits together. It's a lot of work.
Pulling a lot of wire.
So does T.O. He did.
Yeah, but see, we're not quite as big time as Adam. Our shipping department and our kit assembly department is you, Chuck. We can't afford anybody else right now. So,
yeah, but
Adam's got
you
the
send me
AI
this stuff.
robot staff sitting right next to him.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you, we're finally figuring it out. So we're gonna bring out some couple more antennas. I can show you some stuff later if you want.
Oh, cool. Well, we'd love to test them. That's for sure. Well, it's time, guys. So now let's go with the coffee and ham radio. So going down the next list.
Fits.
Hey, TC Fits. Thank you for the super chat. So we're going down to drawing number 2. This is 3 winners, 1 coffee and ham radio antenna. So let's go pull those random numbers here. The first one, 2145. So now with my new hack, I can go 2145. Let's see.
You're not sharing that screen out, by the way.
Oh, that's
yeah. It's I'm
no
up
one will
there.
trust me. I have to go back now. Here, so there's the number. You see it's right there, 2145. So who is the winner?
Did I give it away? Were you making a friend on this one here, Josh?
No, yeah, that was me. Yeah. So this is Tom SA5CGH, which that means we've got some DX shipping that I'm gonna have to put in, and that's the coffee and ham radio antenna. Very good. So Tom with the DX giveaway win. Sounds like I'm gonna have to ship that out of country. So good for you. Extra value, Tom. No, it's good. It's good. All right, next one. 1387. 1387. Oops. I jumped.
How
the gun
many
on that
entries
one.
did you say you had, Josh? 2,300,
27. 2700 was like the original number, but some of those were duplicates. A
Gotcha.
couple hundred actually. So we had to go in there and take care
Loose
of
the
that.
bot.
Yeah, had to let the bot loose. Yeah. So this is 8. Let's make sure I've got that right. 1387. 1387 is George N6NKT. Very good. You have won a coffee and ham radio end fed, which is your which kit is that called again?
Apollo. That's the
Apollo.
Apollo.
So very good. Nice name. I love it. All right. Last one, coffee and ham radio 1951. Let's see who that is.
That's a good year.
And that is Glenn KE0UWC.
Congrats to all you guys. It's
So
awesome.
there you go. We have
Indeed.
we
Who
have
was that?
given away the coffee and ham radio antennas. And reminder, guys, again, links in the description. Both I didn't have I wasn't able to get the Mercury. That is the linked dipole, which I'm always a fan of linked dipoles. What bands does that cover?
Well, it's in the instructions. It'll do. I give measurements that are really close, probably for most people, for 10, 20. Was it 10, 20, and 40? But you can pretty much do any 3 bands you want.
Okay,
up to,
sure.
down to 40.
Right, that makes perfect
So-
sense. Yeah.
But I figured those are the most robust bands, maybe 10 and 20. Well, if 10's open, man, 10's awesome.
10,
Chuck,
20,
how do you
40?
do your links on that? What's your link strategy?
The links are links.
The,
what are the
links
links?
on the linked dipole.
Um,
Yeah, how do you make the links? What's your strategy?
we used to do these, but they're kind of bulky. I know that wouldn't pass on your stuff. So we went to these. I don't have any with me, unfortunately, but they're like a little small clip. It's plastic. It's like a carabiner on each end. It's just like a circle or an oval.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like spade connectors though for the.
We
Is that
went to
what
spade
the
connectors.
electrical
We were
connection?
doing the
Cool.
the
no, that
what do you
works.
call the other ones?
Banana
Banana
plugs.
The banana plugs.
Yeah.
And I did a few of them, and I built, and that's how mine's built. But we had a few people that are like having problems. They're hard to solder. So we went to something they can crimp and solder. And,
So what's
Cool.
showing looks like the banana plug connectors. You're saying you've gone to the flat spade connectors now?
no, those are. I do have those here.
Those are like the
Open.
little round nubbin ones, right? The little round guys?
Yeah, but they're.
Here, hold it up. I'll give you the full zoom here. There you go.
I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's like a.
Yeah.
And what I actually we actually say to go ahead and pull the insulation off, and we
Yep.
send some regular insulation like this with it,
Oh, yeah.
and that makes
some heat
it makes
shrink.
it
Yep.
a little more compact. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. That's kind of the thing with our antennas. We give you instructions, but you can do pretty much whatever you want.
Place
Just
to start.
Make it your own, you know.
I like it. Scott Gibson says Greg K6EGG needs more subscribers. Okay. Do you have a link?
Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
Oh,
He's,
and I'm trying to make 8,000 if you guys want to hit
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. So
So I-
let's go back to. So,
So
coffee
I
and
never-
radios. Go ahead, Adam.
I've only got 1,400, so feel free.
Yeah, everybody, while we're watching,
I
we
don't
still
think
got
I've
5
seen
minutes before the
K6.
next giveaway. What, Adam? Go ahead.
I don't think I've seen K6EGG's channel, but I've talked to him.
I have too.
He's
in
on 2 meters all
California.
the time in SoCal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
He does D-Star. Oh, there you go. Don dropped it. So,
Don didn't.
reminder,
that's great.
the links in the description, I'm using the YouTube at thing. So right at the top there, it says at Coffee and Ham Radio. So if you click on that, it'll take you to their channel page. And then click the little subscribe button under each one of those little names. Those are the all the folks that are involved in Coffee and Ham Radios. Do the same thing for Adam while you're at it.
Yeah.
It'll make you happy.
Yep, that's right. Lots of talk about Andersons. Why is Andersons getting hate? Do you guys not like power poles?
Oh, Chuck's a XT60 fan, and it's a
I'm an Anderson guy.
Well, the Andersons is what I use mostly, but I think an XT60 is better.
Is that the one that's the yellow ones for RC cars? That's the T.
Yeah, and they're super cheap. I mean,
I
it's
agree.
too bad. It's too
Or
bad.
XT30.
Or 30s.
I will say that they probably they stay mechanically connected. I think better.
Oh, yeah, they do. There's a lot more contact point on them. But I mean, it's not something the ham world chose, I guess. So I'll use them for like solar stuff though, for sure, just so I know it'll stay together.
And that's often good to have a different connector for solar.
I like to be different sometimes,
Well, you don't want to accidentally take the battery and plug it into a solar panel directly or vice versa.
That's right.
I know some people actually do rotate the power pole, 90 degrees off the regular one just for solar for that reason. So very good.
It's a talking point sometimes, gets people kind of get something to discuss about. I don't know,
like ham sticks.
In ham, oh yeah,
he's not here, but I mean he was in the chat. So
is that he really does, or he's being sarcastic?
No, he doesn't.
Oh,
okay.
Ape hates ham sticks.
Don N5SKT likes them. He goes photo with those guys, and so that'd be fun to have them talk about that. They could probably go for a while.
It provides a lot of entertainment. You should also talk about Don's carbon fiber pole around Ape too.
Yeah, he's not a fan of the carbon fiber poles. I know that's true. I know that. Yep.
They're okay unless you want to build a vertical. Eric in the chat. And you can still build a vertical. It just won't be the right length.
It will affect the length when you tune it. That's true. That's true.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It's way different.
If you go to tune up at a park with something else, you may find yourself a little short.
If I'd had hair one day, I would have pulled it out trying to figure out what was going on. Then I finally remembered that I was using a carbon fiber pole.
Yeah. So does it make it generally longer or shorter? I forget.
Shorter, I think.
It makes it shorter. Yeah, because the antenna is getting in on the game or the mast. Yeah. That makes sense.
That's what I found anyhow. But they're fine for anything else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Oftentimes if it's wide enough, your antenna, then it's not that big of a deal. But I can see how that screws some people up. All right. I'm watching the chat, guys. So if you have questions, just type questions or at Ham Radio Crash Course, and I'll try and do what I can to help you out. But we're about almost ready to go give away Adam's antennas now.
Are these the big boys?
They're the big boys.
Yep, the 100 watts. Yep.
The hundos.
So one of the guys that was at the camp out, he was messaging me on Discord today. He acquired one of my antenna kits, and he's got it built as an end-fed half-wave, strung around the ceiling of his house, and he worked on FT. Australia, Chile, Uruguay, Argentina, Puerto Rico, Japan, South Korea over the past few hours, and east coast of Russia yesterday.
What radio and what power?
Well, apparently no more than 100 watts, but yeah, he's crushing it apparently.
That's pretty from inside his house too.
From inside the house.
Wow.
That's crazy sometimes.
So don't get me wrong. I'm not going to try to claim that my antenna is anything special. It's an end-fed half-wave. End-fed half-waves have their pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
They typically, when cut with a half-wave radiating element, they radiate similar to a dipole at the same height, and you have a little bit of additional loss in the transformer that you might not have in a dipole, although you probably get that in your coax, depending on what type of coax you're using, if you're running a feed line there to the dipole and not to the end-fed half-wave. And the toroid that I use in this kit is kind of a special toroid. It's a unique one. It's intended, I think, as a choke on coax. This is one of the built matching units here.
That's a big boy.
And it's it's the outer diameter of a 140 toroid, so about 1.4 inches in outer diameter. It's twice as thick height wise, and it's 3 times the mass. And that form factor, for whatever reason, makes a fairly efficient transformer for an end-fed half-wave, and it'll handle 100 watts just fine. So.
There was a question in the chat asking, how do you determine what size toroid do you need? And once you answer that, Adam, and we'll also go to Chuck if he wants to jump in, we'll give away your antennas. And thank you, Thomas, for the super chat. Does this donation help me win? No, I'm sorry. That would be unfair. Playing around with FTB 30 meters if anyone is looking for CA. I think you mean FT8, but I think that's what you meant. So, yeah, go ahead. Toroid size. How do you choose?
Yeah, so how do you pick the toroid size? Well, largely it comes down to experimentation, because there are a lot of variables in the equation that amounts to how hot the toroid gets. And once that material gets above a certain temperature, I want to say about 150 C, it starts to lose its magnetic capacity, and it just doesn't function the same, and your SWR goes through the roof. That is typically the failure mode. So you need the mass to be able to get rid of that heat and be able to handle that additional power. Now, different size and shape and form factor toroids act differently in a transformer, and some are more efficient than others. And the more efficient they are, the less loss you have. The less loss you have, the less heat you generate, because that's where that energy goes. It turns into heat when you lose it. So the less loss you have, the more power handling you're going to have as well. To kind of put it in a nutshell, I think there are some ways to do some math on it as well, but a 50 size toroid, so a 1/2 inch diameter toroid, is going to be good for QRP power levels, say 5 watt CW, maybe 10 watt sideband. You can momentarily push more through it and not hurt it. It's just going to heat it up faster. The 82 or 114 size toroids can handle 20 to 30 watts, and then the 140 size toroids, a single 140 size toroid, can handle perhaps 50 watts, and then this toroid that I'm using, or perhaps maybe a couple of stacked 140s or 3 stacked 140s, or an FT240, can handle 100 watts pretty easily.
Are you talking FT8? Because we use a 140 and it'll do 200 watts on sideband for a while.
Yeah, not for very long though. Not with much duty cycle.
I've done it, and then 300. I've done 300, but that lasts about 5 minutes if you're lucky.
Yeah, and that, I think that's an important thing to understand, right? You know, if you're trying to make that tough contact, and you've been running at, say, 20 watts on a 20 watt unit, and it's not warm, it's cool out, you can push it up to 50 watts for a brief contact, and it's not going to damage anything in most of these kits and most of these designs.
Yeah.
So
we advertise ours 100 SSB and 50, and I know exactly what it'll do, because it'll do. Yeah. I know. Just say it's safe there.
Yeah.
But like Adam said, if it's hot outside, you better watch, because that makes a difference. I did in 80-degree weather.
Right. Thank you, Joe Beasley, for the super chat. He says, I've got 274 subs. Where can I drop the link? Well, I'm not trying to turn super chats into subscribers. I don't think that's legal. I think I'll get kicked off of YouTube for that. But your link is your name. So if anybody's so inclined to check out Joe, you can do that. So thank you for the super chat. And Ryan Haynes sends a super chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
There was one other good question I saw. Inverted V or sloper?
I like what you're doing. You're building suspense of giving away your antenna. So you go ahead and answer that. Everybody just has to wait for Adam to answer this before we give away his antennas. Go for
it. That's right. Keep asking questions, and you're gonna. We're out of time. No. So inverted V or sloper? I generally like an inverted V or inverted L. Generally speaking, I don't use a feed line. And if you set up with an inverted V or an inverted L, your average height above ground, particularly for the radiating part of the antenna, where the highest currents are toward the center, is highest above ground and is going to perform the best on those lower bands. On the higher bands, it doesn't make as much of a difference, but I do think your greatest average height above ground is achievable with either an inverted V or an inverted L when you're setting up out portable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, there's another question for you. How about running an end fed as a vertical?
I'll look it up. On one of my recent Twitter posts, I put the number of the toroid in there. It's a Fairright brand toroid that I buy from Mauser, and I'll see if I can find the link here and post it in the chat. But I'm more than happy to share this stuff. I don't try to keep my kit contents a secret. I don't share my PCB Gerber files for obvious reasons because I am selling them, and I don't want someone to steal that and do it commercially. But I'm happy to sell PCBs individually at a low price. I'm happy to share the other materials and information about the antenna. I don't want to have any secrets here. I want you guys to learn and have fun with this stuff. So I'll go find that and share.
Yeah. How about running your end fed as a vertical? Is there any issue with that?
Do it.
I've done it. Yeah, it works great. If you got a long enough pole and a short enough wire, then go for it.
Yeah, indeed. All right, it's time. Let's give away Adam's 100-watt antennas. So we have 2 of these because I'm keeping one. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep it. Let's run another number. This is 1602.
Rigged.
Yeah, it's rigged. I'm keeping it. That's
ham
right.
court. I call ham court.
All right, 16. Nick Smith, KJ7NWK.
Nick, awesome.
Nick.
I think that's his call signs for the Nick Smith that we all know and love. I think that's him, right? I think. We'll
I
find
believe
out.
that's right.
Yeah, we'll find out. Man, that's I always like it when people that are in the comments a lot win. So that's super cool.
Very cool.
All right, we'll get back to the questions. We got one more to give away here. One more, only one. I'm sorry. Next time I'll get more. 465, and yes, everybody, I did buy these. These are bought by me to give away. So Merry Christmas or whatever you celebrate for the coming year. The last one for the K6ARK is Ed Frey K9EMP. So congratulations, you won the 100-watt K6ARK. And we've got 3 more antennas. These are all the bigger antennas. We only have 1 of each of these, though. So we'll take some questions as we roll closer to the next giveaway, which is actually in like 2 minutes because we use that time pretty quickly. This is from Dominic. What about the high heat and humidity like we have in Houston? That would affect the toroid? ? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. Yeah. So the heat's going to affect it the most. The other thing I'll say is that with any of my antenna kits, they're not designed to be put up permanently outside. They're designed to be portable antennas, generally fair weather antennas. If you do want to try to weather seal them better and put some kind of like a potting compound in them, hot glue can work, although that can melt in, obviously real high temperatures or in your car when you don't want them to. But I would say one of your best bets is probably to use silicone. Now, most silicone includes, apparently I posted a bad link there. Let me try that again. Most silicone has a curing agent in it that is somewhat corrosive. And if you use the non-acetose silicone, it dries really slowly and poorly. So you can look at other potting compounds for electronics that have little impact on ferromagnetics and inductors and things like that. Mm-hmm. Or you can just go ahead and use that standard silicone and seal up that bottom part of the PCB, knowing that those elements in that silicone may over many years cause some degree of additional corrosion and cause it to break down a little faster. I do have a whole bunch of these that I built back in the day, probably 5 to 7 years ago, that I've potted with silicone, and I've not seen any issues with any of them. So take that for what it's worth, and those are some options for a little bit of additional weather sealing if you think you need it.
And one thing I'd throw out with, go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to say, if I could add the same thing, our antennas are just like Adam's. They're made for portable use, not made to sit up at your house and leave out. I mean, you could, but
right,
we don't sell them that way.
They're priced right that you won't cry if you leave it out in the rain.
Well, I've actually left ours out in the rain for a couple 3 weeks, and it's still.
It should survive for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, it will. It's not. We don't
And
really
you dry
design
it
stuff
off
for
by
home.
just putting more electrics through it, man. It dried
Right.
off just fine. No problem.
To go back to the question Adam answered too, they make potting compounds specifically for electronics. Worst case scenario, you can get the right stuff. You're going to pay more for it, but there was a comment from Ed or someone in the chat saying that fiberglass resin they use for fiberglass is good for electronics as well, and so that's probably true. But I don't know.
Good to know.
Truly on that one. So
the only comment I would have about covering anything, especially the toroid, while you're going to end up weatherproofing it, you're also going to insulate it. And if you're pushing the edge of the heat envelope, or you're somewhere in a lot of sunlight, or your toroid is in direct sunlight, that's not necessarily going to help the toroid. So you might hit that saturation point faster if you're insulating it.
Yeah. Well, Kenneth Helberg, thank you for the comment. He said he made a coffee stout with the Give It the Beans coffee beans that we sold last year. So that is awesome. I love to hear that. We've got another antenna to give away, so I'm going to jump in here really quickly. We've got to talk about this one. This is the Chameleon Left's antenna. I was using this at my dad's house in Big Bear. It was not a permanent setup. Every time I went to his house, I set this up. It kind of lived up there for a while. I have the new one, so I'm just going to pass this one along. So that's the next number we're going to give away.
Ham it forward.
Yep.
Ham it here, brother. Ham it here. I'm interested in
ham
that
it
antenna.
here. It's, going back to what we've all been saying so far, it is an end-fed half wave. It is much like the antennas you make and Adam makes. It's just a bit bigger. It's got that coil that's close to the transformer, but I believe Adam also has the makeup for that in a lot of his kits as well. What does that help you get 15? Is that how that works, Adam?
Yeah, so when you're using say a 40 meter end fed half wave on the resonant multiples, there's something called end effect, where you get additional capacitance when you're using a multiple half wavelength long antenna. It changes where those resonant points are. So if you build one of my antennas and tune it perfectly for 40 meters, the middle of the band, you'll find that the resonant points are going to be just above 20 and 15 meters and 10 meters. And if you want to fix that, you can put a small loading coil strategically close to either the feed point or the far end of the antenna. And what it ends up doing, it basically loads the higher bands more than it loads 40 meters. So by doing that, it brings those resonant points in and brings them closer. You do have to, if you tuned your wire first and trimmed it to 40 meters and you build that loading coil, it's going to be too short. You're going to have to add some wire. So add that loading coil before you do any final trimming. But it can really help to bring in those upper bands.
There you go.
And that's any end fed half wave. It'll apply to all of them.
All right, so we have a winner. It's Chris, K3AV. You have won the Chameleon Left's antenna. So I'll contact all the winners and email them, and we'll get them out the door to you, hopefully before Christmas. If you listen to the podcast, our shipping and receiving department is always busy any time of the year, so we'll do our best. Let's see. Alan Beckman asks, will I be at the beach for Winterfield Day? I don't know what I'm going to do for Winterfield Day yet. I don't know. We've got so much going on at home with the kids, everything right now this year. So I've got to figure out how to make things work on that front. I will mention, though, as we wait for the next giveaway here in about 5 minutes, I did get out to do a Will It Antenna video today. I was showing the guys earlier before we started. This was the contraption I was using to see if it would antenna. And I'll give you a spoiler alert to give away a bit of the video. Not very good. It's not a very good antenna. Who would have known that this Mobius strip caged dipole looking thing is not a good performer? But yeah, not very good at all.
Did you try different points of feed?
I tried a couple different feed points, and I also moved I had a radial as well that I moved around, and I just never really got any further than Colorado and as far north as Washington.
I never saw you.
I was going right over your head. It must have been. But I appreciate you trying.
Kind of short for us.
Yeah, Alan Beckman is asking, is that the one by the Cerritos Library? Yes, it is. That is indeed the one. That is the spot to be. Cerritos Library is really nice. All right.
That's a cool looking deal.
Yeah, there's a whole little sculpture garden they have. This is one side of it. Behind that hedge over there is a whole bunch of other sculptures. It's really nice. It's a good place to take a picnic or take pictures. A lot of people are taking wedding pictures and holiday pictures with their kids. I'm out there like screwing around with the antenna, sitting on this stupid metal thing, and everybody's like, "God, get this guy out of here with his box that's screeching out FT8." Whole family's waiting, kids crying.
At the restaurant.
That's it.
Have you seen Peter Parker VK3YE's video where he tunes up and makes contacts on rugby field goalposts?
I haven't,
I
but
haven't seen that
yeah, I want to. I heard about that.
Yeah,
Those are big fields too. It's good takeoff angle on those fields.
That's right. No, it's worth looking at for to understand different feed options for antennas like that, because he basically inductively feeds it, put a coil around it and fed it that way. So.
Oh, interesting. So he wrapped it with a coil, not to tap directly into it. Oh, that's smart.
My recollection. Yeah,
that's smart.
Interesting.
That might have been the better way of doing it, since it is technically bolted to the ground. It's not truly isolated. That might be the better way. Well, I'll have to think about that in the future. Definitely.
Sawzall.
That's right. Sawzall. Just and then put Delrin pucks underneath the mount points.
It's for science. They'll allow it.
Let it sit there. That's right.
When is the library against STEM?
That was going to be my approach if anybody asked me. It's like, well, I'm conducting a test. I do demonstrations in RF technologies, and see how well that would have flown.
Well, I mean, if it's directly coupled to the ground, then you got a fantastic, contact into Washington State. Like, that's all that much more impressive.
That's actually really good for 20. Were you on 20 then?
Yeah. And by get into, I was like picked up on PSK Reporter. I only made like one actual full contact.
Okay.
I had a lot of replies, but it just couldn't seal the deal with many people. It's just really difficult. Not a good antenna, not recommended. Worked okay on 40 meters, but 40 meters kind of poo-pooed out mid-afternoon, so I had to switch it up. Let's see. Did we answer questions? We answered the interesting. Yeah, so Don has a good question. Don always has good questions. Does rain or drought cause changes in the ground under the antenna, and does that affect the SWR? Mine works better over wet ground. I always pee underneath my antenna before I transmit.
That's what I was going to say. You have to pee on it.
You have to pee on it. Yeah, the salt helps.
Which is why beer helps ham radio.
That's right. Exactly.
And lube.
So I think yes, right, generally?
Yeah, when you get into CB stuff, there's a lot of talk about that kind of stuff. Let me tell you. Hey, so we're kind of like Adam. We looked at that G90 as being a pretty legit radio, and we're going to offer like let's just show you. So here's our regular winder, and we're like Adam. So we don't.
Sexy.
It is nice winder.
Somebody asked me, well, what's different about yours? I go, the winder's the only thing really different than any other end-fed half waves.
We did not invent the end-fed half wave, correct?
No, and that's the whole thing. But so we're going to do we're going to call it a 20 watt. So it's a little bit smaller.
The Apollo Junior.
The Apollo Junior. Yeah.
It's the Apollo Creed.
Yes. And just so it's a little bit lighter, a little smaller wire. It's not going to be, it won't be, I think we're not sure what we're going to put on it yet. We're thinking about doing something like one of the things that Adam does with the dual ones. I've done a dual T50, and that will get you 20 watts. At least it did on the setup that I had. But and then we're doing something else. And Josh, you saw what I took to Pacifico.
I did.
And I don't want to. This thing's not out yet, but I'll give you that much of a view of it. And this will go with it. So
nice.
Adam probably already knows what it is, I'm sure. But it's in the testing process right now.
You're such a tease.
I know.
I like it though. It's good.
And then we got a couple other things. We actually have a design out already for a 240 toroid. The thing is, Adam may have seen it in Colorado or in Grand Canyon. It was just my own print, and it did not fare very well. I don't know if I stacked stuff on it or what. All of a sudden, it was like all bent up.
Uh-oh.
But it was in the bottom of a box with a bunch of stuff on top of it. So But if we do it, it'll be the nylon like this. I have never seen anybody could print anything that looks that good on a regular printer. That's
Yeah,
that-
so
that
that's
printer- that-
like a commercial. That's you got to source those, or how's that work?
Yeah, we
and unfortunately they doubled our price after the first set.
Yeah, they saw us coming.
Oh man,
those are
It's like-
PA 12 nylon.
Yeah, it's a different
That are,
process.
Fusion.
Yeah, they're not FDM. They're multi-jet.
not-
Yeah, multi-jet.
They're not
fusion.
3D printed either.
oh
Yeah,
interesting.
It's
I've researched injection molding. You need
Yeah.
large volumes
Yes.
for that to be worth it.
yes. Well, this is kind of like injection molding as far as I don't think it's quite as expensive, but this stuff what they do is they if the printer goes across and drops powder
Mhm.
and it fuses it and
Yeah.
it goes back and drops it. So it's 100% fill. Which
I love the look
part of the reason
of that printing style. It has a really cool like.
it does.
It's got like a sandblasted look almost, but it looks very
Yeah.
stout. It's very rigid. I really like them.
And I don't know, do we have them? Because the first ones we had were gray. Do we have them paint? We have them dyed now.
Yeah, they're dyed black.
Yeah,
Black.
they're actually gray, and then you dye them black.
Oh, interesting.
Gray is
So-
not as sexy.
So there's a question. Best soda antenna: end-fed, half-wave, inverted V, L, or vertical, or linked dipole.
I just dropped an answer to him in the chat too.
What? Oh, Steve says the one you
Adam and
have.
I would
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
use
yeah.
the same thing.
Then the one you can afford. Then the one you dream about. Yeah, that's really a good answer. And also it depends on your physical space. Some
Yeah.
summits don't
It
have the
does.
physical space.
Yeah, and so the three primary ones that I use are an end-fed half-wave for the Mountain Topper MTR 3B, and then I use an end-fed random wire with a 9-to-1 unun with the KX2, because with that I can push a button and get 80 through 10 meters, any
That's right.
band, with just the greatest of ease. It's awesome for chasing summit to summit contacts. And then with the 100-watt station, I still typically end up using a dipole, just because I can get it higher off the ground. If I do want to run, a smaller, more packable 100-watt kit, I'll use the end-fed half-wave from the new matching unit. But yeah, the linked dipole actually gets a bit more use, and I also use this little matching unit for
Little one.
for
The biggest one you've ever seen.
bobtail, a bobtail antenna. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's time for the second to last giveaway. I gotta hold this one up here. So, all right. This is the Chameleon F Loop 2.0. I reviewed this, I think, last year. This is going to have. It'll be the double loop, so it'll get you to 80. It'll include the coax for that as well. And the only thing I won't be sending is the aluminum hoop. The aluminum hoop is too difficult to ship. So this will pack up into a really nice bag, and it'll get you into 80 meters on a loop, which I'm not necessarily recommending, but the fact you can do it is kind of worth its weight, I feel. The Q is pretty aggressive on 80 meters. It's pretty difficult to tune up on 80, and then you're going to have to just, if you breathe on it wrong, if you breathe on your VFO, you're going to have to retune the thing. All right, so let's find a winner for that one. Let's go next number. 1713. 1713. And that is JKK7W. The Chaw Floop is going to be headed
Floops,
off to
flooglies.
the
Yeah.
Floop.
Loops, flooglies.
Okay, so maybe we could talk about loops. Everybody's probably got an opinion on loops in this room. So go ahead, Steve. Why don't you start us off with your thoughts?
You
on
said
loops?
they're high Q, and they are like
Yeah.
extremely high Q. And high Q can be a good thing.
Yeah.
Like if I really want to narrow in and only hear this one very specific segment of the band, then that's fantastic. Most real dedicated old school hams want the highest Q antenna they can get, and more modern younger hams like me want the lowest Q and I want to get the most frequency out of the single piece of wire that I've got in the air. And both of them have their advantages, but like it's fun to play with a high Q antenna and to kind of figure out how it works. You can spin the capacitor on the front of that Chameleon F loop and watch the band move out from underneath of your waterfall. That's how high Q it is. And by spin the dial, I mean like just a little tiny bit.
And I will give a bit of a nod. One of the reasons why I like the Chameleons is they have the drive reducer in the dial. So if you just like slightly touch some of the loops, particularly on the low bands, you could just shift the whole thing right off of the waterfall. With those, at least the drive reducer helps it, so you still get a bit of a feel before it actually, gets that fine tuning action. At least that's been my experience.
I mean,
Adam,
like on 80 meters, the difference between the top of the band and the bottom of the band is literally 5 meters in frequency width. It's huge, and you're trying to hit that with a loop that's 4 foot in diameter.
Yeah, it's difficult. Adam, you've made loop antennas. You have contacts with different loops. Have you worked with any of the commercial loops before, or only ones you've made?
I've never used any commercial loops. I've only built my own. Generally speaking, small transmitting loop antennas, aka magnetic loop antennas, can be very highly efficient radiators. They are very narrow banded, so you have to retune even if you move a little bit in the band. But if they're big enough, I think roughly 1/10 the size wavelength wise, or 1/20th the diameter of the wavelength you're operating on. I think it is. They can be pretty highly efficient if they're the right size.
Right.
And if you try to run too low of a frequency on a given loop size, you have to add a ton of capacitance to the tuning circuit, and you lose some efficiency pretty fast there. But yeah, they can work really well. One of the big benefits of them is that a couple big benefits. They're really small, so if you don't have much space, you can still set one up.
Yep.
And two, they have very strong nulls in the radiation pattern, or receiving pattern for that matter, broadside to the antenna. So if you have a strong local noise source at your QTH, you can put that antenna broadside, find where the orientation where it nulls that out and gets rid of that noise, and they can be a really effective tool. It's hard to do that with a wire antenna fed with coax.
And and for everybody that's thinking about them, another good thing, it was mentioned, hotel rooms have been mentioned, balconies in the chat. They don't need to be high up off the ground. They actually just need to be one loop's width off of the ground, technically. And then that's as good as it's really going to perform. It's not going to be that much better. Of course, what you're aiming it at is going to affect it, of course, if you're at the side of a mountain or whatnot. They can be extremely portable, but there's bulk to them, right? That whole box, the tuning box, the sticks that go and hold the loop up and all that stuff. Like every antenna, there's a compromise. There's a pro and a con. There's no perfect antenna. Those don't really exist. There's a perfect antenna for you at the moment, at the time, what you're doing. Jim, have you played around with them at all?
No, I don't. I don't have one. I'm interested in one, but haven't made one either.
Yeah.
He's loop curious.
I'm loop curious. I'm loop curious. That's right. I'm a loop virgin.
How about you, Chuck?
Yeah, I've made some. To not really great luck with that part of it. It's you've got to spend some money on if you're going to make one that can. I wanted to do one that would do 100 watts.
Okay.
I think if you're like Adam, who's very good at CW, I think it could be an awesome antenna with low power. I do have a. It's sitting up here right now. It's a homemade, not a homemade one, a commercial one. I bought it with the remote, and I would never do that again because it's so fine that it takes forever to go from. I mean, if you don't know where you're going to go, it takes forever to get a tune sometimes.
Interesting.
But L&R Precision is the one I have, and it worked pretty good. But I think it was 10 or 15 watts max, and that's the. If you're going to make one that can do like 100 watts, you're going to spend some money on a capacitor, unless Adam knows a different way of doing it. And
yeah,
let me know, because
they use the blades, the blade.
They use the ones that looks like a tube, vacuum.
Yeah, vacuum variable.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
There's that Italian company. It almost looks like a car jack, a big car jack, and it's got those fins that mesh the actual loop
Yeah,
element,
I've
the
seen that.
pieces mesh,
Yeah.
and the closer they are changes, what's its tuning is, which is I guess it's an air capacitor, but
I did security at Pacificon one year, and at night I was bored because we're just basically spending the night babysitting everybody's things. But Precision antennas had theirs there, and that one looked really, really nice. And they do make some that'll go up. I think they'll do at least 100. They may go over 100 watts on some of theirs, but they're pretty pricey when you start getting up past there.
yeah,
The capacitors. I mean, most of those come from Russia. That's the only ones I ever seen for sale on eBay.
I think so. Well, yeah. So this is that loop I was mentioning. Thanks for mentioning the name. It's over at DX Engineering, the Ciro Marzoni Stealth Loop. Look at that. It literally does look like a jack, like a car jack.
Yeah, it does. That's what I was
Nothing
thinking.
stealth about it.
Yeah. It's not very tall though, and it does have a remote tuner. It's quite interesting. I've thought about trying to get my hands on one to at least test it. It's pretty
I've never
cool
seen
looking.
that one. How much
They're
was
not
it?
cheap, are they?
Like $1,800.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And
Well, I mean,
these are those guys who have the ultra huge loops that go in the
Mhm.
backyard, and they come to Hamvention, and they've got the huge display of them. This is their stealth option. So
one of the coolest home builds I ever saw was Jerry Ellsworth made one. And then she never did the sequel to it, and people just give her a bad time about that. But it was pretty awesome.
was that the one where
You
she
guys-
had the light bulbs?
No, she rolled it on a metal roller. It was I want to say it was for 80. It was huge.
Oh my goodness!
And it was awesome build. I mean, I was like, wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah,
And yeah, but she never did a follow up on it. You guys, I always want to do a follow up sometimes, and I never get them done either. So I don't
I
blame
know
her.
it's tough. It's
Never
tough
promise
to
it
it's
when they
tough
start.
to
Yeah.
follow a series of videos.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, it's time. We've hit the hour here. So the final antenna to give away is a Buddy Stick Pro by Buddy Pole. This has been used. No, this is not mine. I bought this one. This is a brand new one. This is the antenna that I will often just kind of keep in my car. I've worked with many different radios. I've done a lot of POTA with them. Not done a SOTA. It's a little on the bulky side to carry. Not that you couldn't. I just don't really do it. So that's the final one. So we're gonna pick a winner here. So let's
Here we
get that.
go.
Let's get that number. 521. 521. $521 is Robert Gill, AD2CT.
Congratulations, Robert.
Congratulations. So you have won, and I will just go right back up to the top here, and let's do a check on all of these, make sure we've got everybody sorted out. So we have, let's sort by name here. So the two 100-watt K6 ARKs, K9 EMP, KJ7 NWK. The Buddy Stick went to 82 CT. The three Coffee and Ham radio antennas went to N6 NKT, KE0 UWC, and SA5 CGH. The F loop, the CHA F loop went to K7WU, and the CHA lefts went to K3AV. It looks like, oh, that's my mistake. This is okay. This was supposed to say prize. that's the top one. This one, don't worry about it. We're good. And then the 20 waters went to Christopher, who's working on his call sign, Martin K9RDX, Eric Cox, and Cyrus K7CGJ. Well, that's going to be a fun one on both single sideband and CW. Philip KE8KCY also got a K6 ARK 20-watt antenna. So there you go, guys. We've given away all the things. Appreciate you taking the time here. Appreciate all the folks on the Zoom call. Thank you so much for being on and obviously, making antennas, bringing out cool kits for people to get started in this whole fun game that is ham radio.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
So we're gonna wrap this up, and some of us likely are gonna be heading over to the Discord. The link is in the description. Discord is, our little chat program where we get together and talk about ham radio stuff and all the thing that goes along with it. Nick Smith is asking, do I get a sticker? Yes, I'll put one of my new stickers in there for you. No worries. Anyone want to mention anything before we wrap up here? Go around the room here. Adam, you're on the screen right now, so why don't you go ahead and say your salutations?
All right. Yeah, I just follow me on Twitter at @akimmerly, KIMMERLY on Twitter, and that's where I'll post my updates when I see stuff go live on Amazon. I've got these mini microphone kits that work with the KX2 and the True SDX, because there is no little microphone for the True SDX. Just plug an aux cable in the back that comes with the kit. And then I'll have some winders up there soon. I'll have more 100-watt kits up there soon, as well as all the other kits. So lots of stuff coming up on Amazon in the near future. So try not to make me sell out so fast this time. It's a lot of work.
What a good problem to have, I guess, in the long run. But Adam is a
It
full-time
is a good problem to have.
engineer and has a busy load of stuff he's got to do. So, I don't know how you find the time as well, Adam, on doing all the things you do. Search and rescue volunteering, all that's crazy to me. Well, thank you very much for being on. Steve, we'll go you next. I think you were one of the first on the show, so thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Adam. How's it going? Yeah, anything you want to mention, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. So we were talking behind the scenes on our own little private chat here, and we enjoyed this giveaway so much that we're going to do a giveaway on Thursday night's Coffee and Ham Radio stream.
Woo!
We have some more antennas that we want to give away, and the world's greatest UHF VHF handheld portable radio that's ever been made in the history of ever. We've got a Baofeng, and we also have some new merch on our website, the coffee mugs that Jim is modeling that can't be seen by the audience.
Not yet. We'll let him go next.
Right.
Jim,
okay.
you hold it up. Go ahead, Jim.
What he said, whichever way he is to me, I don't know. And then we have plenty of kits in stock of the Apollo and of the Mercury. The Apollo's the end fed. The Mercury is the link dipole. Chuck has the wire cut. You can do the link dipole multiple ways, follow his instructions, or roll your own on that one. Same with the end fed, pretty much. And then we just got these. These are the stainless steel style insulated tumblers. These are 30 ounce. So
The
these will
style
hold.
rhymes with Schmetty, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not a Schmetty. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's an insulated stainless steel tumbler.
Yeah.
And these will hold a complete extra large Dunkin' Donuts coffee or a venti from the other place. And it's really awesome.
There you go.
And then we're going to be doing, God knows what we'll be doing on Steve's show on Monday night. Steve probably doesn't know yet.
No, we
And,
got to figure it out still. Yeah.
yeah.
Monday night's the show where we all get together as a ham club and figure something out in real time live that we've never
do
touched.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fun. Okay. Well, Jim, thank you for being on.
Yes,
And
sir.
Chuck,
Had a
you're
great
rounding.
time.
Thank you. And Chuck, you're rounding it out. What's your final words? Anything you want to mention?
Yeah, well, just kind of get on car every once in a while when we do have something new. Like I said, I've got like 4 different antennas that may come out sooner or later. It's just hard to get. We don't take any profits for any of this stuff, and just the money goes right back into making the next project and thinking up projects. And like, antennas are antennas. There's really nothing new. Just sometimes just how you make the antenna more than anything else. And just check out my channel if you haven't checked it out. If there's anybody here that doesn't know me, and same with everybody else here. And I really appreciate you doing this, Josh. This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just a good way of people finding things, and the whole thing with the community. There's, and Josh says a cottage product, or what did you call it?
Cottage industry.
Cottage industry, which comes kind of from the backpacking industry, I think is where that kind of started. But there's people out there, and none of us can supply the demand. I mean, Adam's always out, we're always out, and we're getting to that point where we can actually, look ahead. The first couple of times we had, Mike at K8MRD did a video for us, and we weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
And we just lost sales because of that, because we couldn't keep up.
I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? You got life in front of you. I know that Buddy Pole's got that whole thing going on. They've got some great antennas, and the demand is just so high, which honestly I think is a really great indicator in the life of our hobby. Right. If our hobby wasn't as vibrant as it is today, thanks to a lot of the folks in the room here and the efforts they've put into our hobby and keeping it going, then we wouldn't see the demand that we see it. But we're seeing huge demand on things like this. Even antennas, and I'm not calling your antennas simple, but a nice little kit antenna, just you can't keep them in stock, and they're moderately, fairly priced, and that I think that just speaks to the strength of our hobby going forward, which is fantastic. So thank you all. I appreciate you guys doing this kind of stuff. Right on.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I am going to say 73s to you all. I got to do a big thank you to the patrons. Next week is Patron Picks episode, the first Saturday of the month for December. So we'll have a cool topic of discussion for the live stream next week. We always use the first weekend, the first Saturday of the month to do something fun. All voted by the patrons. So if you'd like to get in on that, the link is in the description as well. A huge thank you to my guests. Really, obviously, having them on the show is always wonderful. These are all generally people who are, a bit used to YouTube, so I expected them to do well. But honestly, just the fact that they're doing cool kits like this to me is just so awesome and amazing. And I love getting the word out on stuff like this the best I can. So do avail yourselves of the links. You may not have won anything today, but they are still very fairly priced antennas, and you can listen to any of them and the people who have purchased them. You heard Adam talk about his 100-watt antenna that someone's using in their home and making DX contacts with. Where nobody's guaranteeing that, but someone is definitely doing that with it, and that's really, really cool. So we do appreciate that, and I think that's pretty awesome. I see lots of 73s in the chat. I saw Ray Novak. He popped in. Sorry we missed you through all of it, Ray. Appreciate you as well for everything you do for our wonderful hobby here. So, yeah, next week will be a lot of fun. Obviously, we've got the last video of Thomas Mountain. And spoiler alert for Thomas Mountain, the last video is going to be a big one. We had something really, really cool happen on the last day that I'm really excited to bring to you all. A really fun moment in at least one ham's life. He's going to be chasing that for the rest of his days, I think. But still a lot of fun hanging out with Adam again. Adam, thank you so much. You're amazing. And then a couple of other videos planned as we roll into the Christmas season. I have a Wish video coming up. Leia has bought more things on Wish.com, and we're going to go ahead and film that before the end of the year, and that should be a lot of fun. So I will play you out with the memes. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. 73.
73 all.